So without further ado, let me welcome this great role model, Mr. Satish Ramesh, to take the stage. Let's welcome him. Hi everyone.
Hi.
How are you? I need more energy. More claps. Not for myself, but for yourselves. So I would like to thank Hindu Hub for actually inviting me here to speak. But more importantly, why am I here? Not because I want to promote my business or anything like that, but more importantly to help anyone who feels that business is not the right way, or someone who's struggling doing their business. Because I can tell you, I've been in business since 2011. That was when I was 21, 22. So it's not easy. I've made a tremendous amount of losses, more than you could imagine. I'll come into that later. So, but most importantly is 3 values which I've actually derived from doing business in this many years. Recognize, rise, and revise. I'll go in depth to that shortly. So my business, Cradle Wealth, we basically deal with networking and brokering deals and whatnot. That was the very first business. But before that, we had Cradle Solutions, which was dealing with marketing, which didn't go very well. So we went into Cradle Wealth. And today we have Cradle Talks, we have Cradle Innovatives, we have Cradle Constructions, and we are expanding into many more. So let me go in depth about the losses that I made first, so that I can lead on to the other points. In 2011, my brother started a marketing firm called Cradle Solutions Private Limited. So me being the radical one, I told him, this is not enough. We got to be hungry. We got to do more. So we started getting ourselves involved in a lot of deals, which we have very little understanding about. So losses started 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, 60,000. So 60,000 was the magic number. So we said, okay, let's stop. It's not funny anymore. So then I said, why not we try something that we know? My expertise is in the banking and finance industry. So I understand a bit about how banks work, how the financial industry works. So I said, let's tap into that network. I started networking more. I got to know more people in that field. So we said, okay, now I think I know everything. I've got my networks, I know big people from the banks, I can do it. So we started our first deal 2 months into the business. This was in 2014. I made a loss of 450,000. I come from a very middle-class family. My father's a government servant, mother's a housewife. This would practically mean that you either try to borrow or you hang yourself. So I told my brother, what are we going to do? Then he was a bit hesitant. Everybody is. It's 450,000 on top of the 60,000. Don't forget that. So that's 500,000. So I said, it's either we try to get rid of this or we go further. We grow bigger. Look back in history. Every corporation that started with massive loss and debts. Nobody started in the green straight away. So losses have to come before you start seeing profits. I said, let's go harder. Let's take more risk. Then we went in. We started getting people involved in our business. More partners came on board. Within 4 months, we got to our first $1 million investment, and from then on, it's been boomtown. So as of 2 years back, that was in 2015, we had a revenue of about close to 3 to 4 million. And as of last year, we had something about close to about 9 to 10 million. So all this is possible. It is not something that is, I'm not plucking numbers out of the blue. So you've got to realize that losses have to come. That means that you're learning. You learn in the process what to do, what not to do. So coming to the 3-pronged values. Firstly, recognize. What do I mean by recognize? First of all, understand yourself. The one very big mistake that I did was not to understand myself. I tried to understand business models, but I failed to understand myself. You see, everybody has strengths, everybody has weaknesses. Nobody can do it alone. I knew what my strengths were. So then I said, okay, if I want to grow this business further and I want to make a difference, I need to bring people together. People who are like-minded, but with different strengths and weaknesses. So that's when I formed my team, Cradle. They are right in front here. So they came together. We said that we're going to do this. And today this is where we are. So it all begins with understanding yourself. First of all, take note. What are your weaknesses? What are your strengths? Understand yourself. Right to the basic, what makes you angry, what makes you sad, because all this can make a difference in a business deal. I will tell you, I'm a very irrational person. I get very excited by the simplest things. That's why I have my team. They tell me, hey, you got to chill. This is not going to work. So you need people around to tell you that. In the beginning, I didn't. I thought I could do it all alone. No, I thought I was going to conquer the world, but sadly, things ended bad. But then, you've got to understand, once you recognize yourself, understand what business is all about. Business isn't about making money. It's not about waking up one day and say, I'm going to be Warren Buffett. Please, if you ever want to do that, go and read Warren Buffett's story first. The sufferings, the pain that he had to go through. Nobody wakes up becoming Bill Gates or Warren Buffett. You have to go through the pain process. So, understand what problem is it that you want to solve. Business is about being passionate. You got to know, I passionately want to solve a problem. Or I think that this is a big problem in the society. I think I need to address this. With that idea starts a business. That is your idea for your business. Once you identify the problem, then you start working on the solution. When you have the solution, that is where business comes. So the three things: recognize yourself, recognize the problem, recognize the solution. You get all three right, you got a business going. Not very hard, right? Is it? Okay, so next comes recognizing, and then you go on to start your business. Don't just jump into things. Once you have understood what is it that you want to do, formulate a plan. But I'm not saying that stick by your plan. I'm just saying that have a rough guideline as to what you want to do. For example, if you want to start a car workshop, what do? You got to understand what kind of cars you're going to service. What kind of parts do you have to buy, who's your supplier, and who are your customers. You got to understand these things. Who are you going to network with? Who are you going to pull into your business? You got to understand all of this. What expertise do you need? So you got to understand all of this. You have your solution, put this all into place, and it becomes a business. So how do you grow from there? You see, once business starts kicking in, then comes the second problem. As you grow, you tend to see that money will start coming in, profits will start coming in. This is where people lose themselves. People think that money is everything. Because a lot of people that I know have gone into business because they just want to become rich. One man's problem cannot become the world's problem. If you want to be rich, that is your problem. Don't make it other people's problem. Create a solution for them solving their problems, and then in turn they will solve your problem. Make sense? So, when the money comes in, you tend to lose yourself. You tend to go into ways that you cannot make sense of anymore. You become something else or someone else. That is because money is being used in the wrong way. Use it responsibly. Cradle Wealth, or the Cradle group of companies, has this very strict practice. We do not take advantage of tax rebates in Singapore, simply because I do not believe in it. Giving should come because you want to give, because it's a duty to give. Not because somebody is giving you tax rebates, you've got to pay lesser taxes. That is not the way to give. You give because you want to make a difference. Apart from being noble, it is a duty. If everybody were to do their part, the bigger people out there do not need to do much. Why do you see Bill Gates giving and giving? Because the people below are not giving anything. people like us. I'm not telling you that you have to give money. How many of us actually give our time? Give our expertise, our knowledge, our resources? No. I don't see that happening much. I know that money is important, but there are things that are way more important than that. When I first started doing social work, I went to like one-room flats with this foundation called Heart to Heart Foundation. We just went to give out goodie bags to one-room flats. Back then I had nothing. I had shorts, I had slippers, I had a t-shirt, and some money for the bus fare, of course. So even then we did that. But the important part here is it all begins with giving. If you do not give, you will not grow. Very simple. So once you get past this understanding, you would know that as your business grows and you make money, you know where to allocate it. Then you do not spend too much. You know that your spending is within your limits, and the business thrives responsibly. Because at the end of the day, as a leader, the decisions that you make is going to affect your employees. Talking about that, coming to employees, the age of leadership is changing. Any of you been to the Google office in Singapore? You've been to the Google office? Been to the Google office. You know how they have collapsible walls? Like, you know how meetings are made so much easier? And there is restricted hierarchy. What does this mean? If I'm a director, I'm an employee or someone who's in the sales department or something, you should not create the barrier that he can't come and see you. You want to have a meeting? Okay, let's collapse the walls and let's just have a meeting here. That's how it should work. You should work cohesively. The idea is to grow the business and to solve problems. It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. You've got to work together to make sure that the end goal is solved. If you can't do that, then you have failed as a leader, simply put, and your organization will fail. That's a given. So employees, take care of them, they will take care of the company, and they will make sure that the company grows. So when this rise comes, what do you do to sustain it? Study the model. Whatever failures that you have attained, wear it like a badge of honor, because your failures are the ones that teach you what you must do and what you mustn't do. Your experience will be different from mine. For example, if you're in the automobile industry or in the oil and gas industry, I'm from the banking industry, our environment is very different. It might be correlated, but it's different still. Similar, but different. So understand how your business is changing, how the environment is changing, how the economy is changing. Keep in line with that. And together with all this, keep in line with your principles. The mission, vision, and philosophy that you start with right at the beginning has to be sustained throughout. No matter how many years your company is around, do not go back on those values, because it's those values that even created your company in the first place. So when you get to this, the last step is to revise. What do I mean by revising? You have gone through this whole process from understanding yourself, from understanding the problems you want to solve, the solutions, and then starting your business. All this is a process. But what we fail to do is we get so caught up in the race that we don't look back and tell ourselves, hey, I feel like I'm making the same mistake again. That's why you need to revise. Study your mistakes again and again, like it's a subject. Do that. Your life is the best subject that you can study anyway, so do that. Then when you get to that point, you got to look at people, examples that have come from before. Because the two things that will come when your business is growing, one, the fear of failure, the other, the fear of success. Sounds ironic, right? But I'll come to that. Fear of failure, everybody has some fears, what if I'm going to invest this much of money into my business, and what if I fail? What's going to happen then? How many of you have that fear? Come on, show of hands, be honest. How many of you are afraid that you will start a business and fail? That's it? Sure? Okay, then we got a good, courageous crowd here. I respect that. So, the fear of failure, fear by itself, in my definition, is an illusion. Whatever scenarios of fear that you create happens inside here. That's why you have to recognize yourself first. Understand your fears, break them, conquer them. When that is out of the way, then you're free. But if you are going to sit down here and just say that I'm afraid, I'm afraid, I'm afraid, you're not going to get anywhere. You're just going to be lost running in circles. So break that fear, no matter how big or how small it is. Know that it is up to you whether you're going to make it happen or you're going to change. Nobody else is going to come and say, oh, stop being afraid. If I tell you stop being afraid, can you stop being afraid? Just like that? Do I have that power? I don't think so. So you've got to tell yourself, you have the power. When you tell yourself that you will stop being afraid, you will. Trust me on that. $500,000 down, I was telling myself, I'm not scared. What's the worst that could happen? Maybe I lose another million. I'll come back again. I'll get up, I'll keep fighting again and again and again and again, because there's only one certainty in life. Oh, actually two. Change and death. These two definitely going to happen. No doubts about that. So what is it that you're actually afraid of? Make sense? So, once we have covered all these three aspects, then we ask, now my business is somewhere, what do I do? Some of the obstacles that I face, I'll share with you. As I was growing my business, I lost a lot of self-time. I didn't take time to work on myself or understand what is it that I am going through as a person. That was one mistake I made. Secondly, I didn't have enough time for my family. You can ask my parents. I was barely around. So I didn't have enough time for my friends. You can also ask them. So I was very detached from the things that actually mattered, because when you fail, and fail you will, you need a support system. You need people to be around you. As much as you think you can conquer yourself, trust me, I am not a saint, I'm not a guru. I can't go up the Himalayas, meditate and come back down and say that I'm back to normal. I'm human. I'm very normal. So I need a support system around me. That's where your family comes in. Your family, your friends, don't neglect them. You will, you tend to do it, but always try to make sure that you make time for them. That's why my company has a very strict policy of no weekend workings, and also my staff only work from 9 to 3 with 1 hour lunch break. Why do I do this? Because many of them can beat the rush hour traffic. Secondly, they can spend time with their children, because a happy employee creates a happy business or a happy company, whichever way you put it. So maybe I can highlight a few examples. Maybe I am not a big enough example, So let's look at someone much bigger. How many of you use the iPhone? iPhone? Oh, great. So majority is Android lah. Good. I like that. Although I'm a fan of Steve Jobs, I still like the Android phones better. But a little bit about Steve Jobs. He got kicked out of his own company, Apple, as you all would know. Came back after about 10 odd years. And during that period, he started this company called Next and Pixar. Any of you watched Toy Story before? The animation? Yeah. Pixar, Steve Jobs. So, the current iPhones that you use, the heart of the renaissance comes from Next, the core technology at Next. Who would have ever thought that this would happen? You get kicked out of the company, the same company comes back and says, please run it for me. And to highlight, Steve Jobs is not a tech genius, by the way. He's not a tech genius. He had the right people around him. This one man's story is enough for you to understand all that I've talked about. The right team, the right mentality, not to give up. If you have a dream, pursue it like your life matters on it. I have this one quote that is in my room. When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you will succeed. You can ask yourself, there's only a few billionaires in the world because all of them had this principle. Why are we here? Because we don't. Practice that principle. Let yourself take a little more risk. What more could you risk? You start a business, you fail, you get up, you try again. You get up, you try again. If you don't, you will regret it. Because pain will eventually vanish. At most, a few years, a few months, and eventually you'll get to the point where you're comfortable. But was that pain worth it? Definitely was worth it, because you are successful now. So all that pain is worth it. You have to go through all this. This is the process of life. You can't run away from it, can you? How many of you watch tennis? Anyone? Any tennis fans? Boxing fans? Okay, boxing then. Okay, Muhammad Ali. Obviously you all know him, right? 3.5 years, right when he was reaching the peak of his career, he got suspended. He couldn't box because he didn't serve the army. He came back. He still lived up to the legendary status that we remember him by today. How is that possible? 3.5 years. You ask any sportsman, 3.5 years out of your sport, you will not survive. You will not be able to come back. But he broke it. Why? Because simply for the mentality that boxing was his life. I will give anything to make this dream possible. You may know him for a lot of things. We judge him for a lot of things. You know, the bad mouthing, the way that he plays foul in the ring. You can judge him for all you want, but he's still a legend. Comes back to another thing. When you grow, people are going to judge you, people are going to criticize you. Criticism, constructive criticism is very important. I have a boardroom where my directors are free to tell me that I'm doing nonsense, which is healthy, because if they don't tell you, you don't know, and you tend to put everyone in danger. So be ready to take criticism, but judgment, don't. Because if you give in to judgment, then you're just living the life that somebody else has drawn up for you. They're just telling you that this, and then you're like, yeah. Then you end up being like that. And that's it. That's all you are. You're just a product of somebody else's imagination. Create a product out of your imagination. Don't become a product of somebody else's imagination. That's very sad, by the way. So, the last point that I want to make, the one thing that I believe that businesses should practice, because it's healthy for you, it's healthy for your employees, healthy for everyone around you. Stop being goal-oriented. Cliche? Yeah, let me explain why. Goal orientation. How does a mango tree grow? Anyone knows? You plant the seed, the tree comes up, yeah? If you just pluck the seed and you just water it and you just look up and you're like, where's the mango, where's the mango, where's the mango? It will eventually come. But you miss out on the process. If somebody else is going to come and ask you, how did you get this mango? You're going to be like, I don't know, but I have the mango. So who cares? You don't even know your product. So it doesn't matter. Stop doing that. Stop just saying, I'm going to make 10 million. I'm going to make 10 million. I'm going to make 10 million. And then you get the 10 million, but you miss out on the experiences of life. The experience of the process is extremely important, because you will make your first 10 million, but if you do not know the process, next year you will lose the same 10 million. So enjoy the experience, study it, understand it, try to figure out, how did I get this 10 million? You know, how did we get here? What have we done? What is it that we did right and what is it that we did wrong that got us here in the first place? You've got to understand all this, because end of the day, it's all about what you leave behind, because any business that you do is going to leave a blueprint. The reason why the financial crisis came about, you know, whatever that we are facing today, environmental problems and whatsoever, is because of irresponsible corporate behavior of the past. People were too greedy, people were too hungry, people didn't care about people. That is the reason why we are here today. Why is everyone suddenly trying to make a change? Because they know if they don't, we won't have a world to live in. We all have to. Anyone knows what's his name? Anyway, so there was this scientist who was coming up with this theory that in the next 100 years, we have to find a way to live in the moon, because he is very, very, very certain that this world is not going to be livable. there's not going to be a world. We don't have enough resources or enough expertise to sustain our greed. I call it greed because we are greedy. With all honesty. I'm not ashamed to say that we all are, including myself. So we all get greedy at some point, but there is a limit to this greed. Is it going to kill others? Is it going to affect others? How much are we giving back to ensure that this greed does not eat into other people's lives? That is extremely important. Because to do a business is not just about money, it's never just about money. Every business that was started at some dorm room, at a garage or whatsoever that turned out to be multi-billion-dollar corporations, all started to solve some form of problem. Whether it was a practical problem, whether it was a problem that brought humanity forward, I am not the one to judge, but it did solve a problem. So if you want to make a difference to humanity, you want to change the way humanity is being driven, that is also a business. There's nothing wrong in that. You can be doing something else, but in the process make a change. Because if you don't make a change, it's just like someone else. Why do I want to do business with you? That is what the world is driving towards. People want freedom. People want to make a difference. People are no more just about, I've got money and I've got flashy things and this is me. Enjoy your luxuries. I'm not saying that if you want to go and spend, please do. Have fun. But don't let that become your identity. Don't let people identify you with things. Let them identify you with your own personality. That's the most important thing. So with that, I hope I haven't bored you all. So thank you.